Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Move Well podcast. We're live at the Move Well HQ as we speak. The weather is beautiful. It finally cooled down starting this past weekend, and I was loving it. It was we had a great weekend with my family. We got to get by the pool all weekend. Water was even a little bit cold, which was the first time in months that I can remember. So today we are moving into a new month, which means we're moving into a new topic from a content standpoint. So today we're going to be talking about sleep. In the next couple of podcasts, we're going to be talking about sleep in some capacity around wellness. And today specifically, we're talking about how sleep impacts our body, our mind, and our health from an overall standpoint. And we're going to talk from our respective experiences, just how it makes us feel, and then also some data points. And speaking of data points, I want to open with Kevin's LinkedIn post that he made one day last week. He asked, was it geared towards parents? Talk about what it was.
When I looked at it, it said professionals, and then my question said parents. But everybody
professional parents.
Professional parents.
Yeah. It was geared towards working professionals. Kind of interesting. So the poll was, how many hours per week do you sleep, on average do you sleep per week? And I had the categories as 4 to 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours, 8+ hours. 7 to 8 is probably recommended, I think, by looking at some of the stuff that's out there. Yeah. So we had 45% of the people were 4 to 6 hours.
That's crazy.
It's pretty low.
Almost half.
Think about that's like going to bed at 1 a.m. and waking up at 5 a.m. And Wade said he's in that category. So I'm a little worried about you, Wade.
6 hours. 4's a little crazy.
And then 55% of the people were 6 to 8 hours, and nobody 8+.
That's crazy.
Nobody. Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. I know I voted the 6 to 8 hour, or 6 to 8. Was that the second range?
Yep.
Yeah. 6 to 8. So what end of the 4 to 6, Wade, would you be? You'd be at the 6?
Probably around between 6 and 7. That's what I'm pulling up.
Okay, so you should have been in the 6 to 8 hours.
I should be.
But you didn't vote that way.
No, I didn't. So I skewed your data slightly. But no, I would say I'm probably around 6 hours on average.
I think I probably am 6 to 7, probably. Sometimes 8, honestly.
I would say it's probably trending more towards the 6.
I wonder if you polled college students what this would be.
Oh my gosh.
I know there's a joke that they don't sleep, but most of them do. They just
I don't know. Yeah, I think
they go to
they
bed late and sleep
definitely
till
do.
12.
Sleep continuously throughout the night for that extended period of time.
That's true.
Yeah. I was looking at I pulled up my Garmin sleep right now. So this was last night. Last night was 7 hours, 55 minutes. So
That's
I'm
solid.
right there in that 6 to 8.
That's why you're looking so good this
Yeah,
today.
I think that's probably what it is. That and the haircut. But no, but I feel like that's generally where I fall, is like that 6 to 8 hour mark. And obviously that all changes, like based on, specifically for kids. Like you said, you're working a job, you have kids, it's going to look different. It's going to feel different for everybody based on what stage of life you're in. But I think taking this beyond, well, first we'll start with the basics of when you have a good night's sleep, when you have a bad night's sleep. A lot of times people use the verbiage of like, I feel drained or I feel exhausted versus I feel refreshed. So talk about, we'll start with you, Kevin, like talk about the difference that having a good night's sleep, feeling refreshed versus feeling exhausted. Like as soon as you wake up, your body recognizes I did not sleep well versus I did sleep well. How does that impact your role as a business owner, as a father, as a husband, and just communicating and having social interactions throughout your day?
Yeah, I think for me, I've noticed that I don't have a lot of patience when I don't get a lot of sleep. Like, and it's more so at the end of the day when I get home with the children. But I don't have a lot of patience, and I'm not very productive, and I have trouble focusing. And that's what the research shows too. Typically, when you don't sleep well, you can't focus. You're kind of your body's in that fight or flight mode. So I definitely feel that. That's a reality for me for sure.
What about you, Wade?
What do I feel? I don't know. I usually probably pretty similar. Just feeling drained, just kind of groggy. Your mind is just kind of blah the entire day, just mentally not sharp. And then as the day goes on, you're probably just feeling more tired. Like, okay, yeah, if I just took a little nap, this would probably go away or feel better. And that never solves the case at all. Usually just makes it worse for me. So usually it's just more that mental fog and issue that I have, just like focusing. Obviously, maybe some short temper, but I may have that all the time. I don't know.
Yeah, all the time.
That's just because I'm chronically sleep deprived.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it is. But yeah, just not productive, and just that mental fog is what always seem to have. And
I've
I try to
noticed-
replace it with caffeine, which then just makes me
Makes
go
it
to fight
way
more.
worse. Yeah.
I've noticed for me too that I don't make as healthy choices with food for whatever reason. I'm just like, whatever. And, I'm not at all very mindful about what I'm putting into my body when I'm sleep deprived.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I know there's research on that probably too, but probably it goes back to that fight or flight mode. You're just trying to take in calories. You're in distress. Your body's thinking, hey, I'm not sleeping for whatever.
Something's
Maybe
going on.
something's chasing me. Maybe something, and I just got to get calories wherever I can get them. That could be why.
Yeah.
But I know as a general rule, I'm not going to eat as healthy or just make healthy choices. Or maybe I'm not going to exercise either because I'm just tired.
Uh-huh.
So just it cuts into everything for me.
Yeah, it does for me too. I mean, I feel that I get really like irritable mainly whenever I get home, and I think it's because throughout the day when you're tired, especially if you work a job, you go to work and you just do it. But like from the jump, first thing in the morning, it almost feels like in a weird way, like almost like a hangover if you get a bad night's sleep because you wake up and you can't focus, you don't feel like you have much clarity or anything like that. And like first thing in the morning, I always notice it. And then you just feel naturally flustered or rushed, whatever, getting out the door, go to work. And then I'm the same way, Kevin. Like I get home and I just feel like I'm like on edge. I can't be present as well as I could if I slept good at night. But talking about, like the research, or like the data behind it, Kevin, a part of the blog that we're using, which is written by Stephanie, our product manager and dietitian, talks about the physical health aspects of sleep. And I'll read this short section here because it's all good stuff. It says, during sleep, your body repairs itself, muscles recover, tissues regenerate, and your immune system strengthens. Chronic sleep deprivation can increase the risk of heart disease, obesity, and diabetes. It also impairs your body's ability to regulate blood pressure and blood sugar levels. So focusing on improving your sleep can help almost overnight improve your blood pressure and your blood sugar. If you're insulin resistant and want to improve your insulin response, sleep is critical. So that kind of goes back to what you were saying about you don't know what it is, but you just you just eat worse. You don't care as much. And that's probably, there's that book, it's like The Body Keeps the Score. Like, I think that's relevant in a lot of ways, especially, and also including like what your body craves, if you want to say that, or what your body feels like it wants. And I think lack of sleep, obviously, right here talking about regulating blood pressure and blood sugar levels, that makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah, it's almost like, I think about, you see like a Tesla at a charging station, like we have to recharge ourselves. But we don't, I think as a society, we look at sleep as something that's maybe not good.
Mm-hmm.
We have this narrative of, well, man, if I'm sleeping too much and I'm lazy or I'm not working hard, so we sleep less, we try to fit in more, and then we supplement it with caffeine to try to be more and more productive. But all we're doing is we're just draining that battery. It's kind of like my trusty old laptop here that you guys make fun of. The battery is worthless on this thing, so I just have to keep it charged all the time. I always have to have it plugged in because the battery's no good because I've just ruined it. And I just have to keep on giving it more and more charge just to stay working. And I think that's kind of what we do with our bodies is we drain ourselves physically, mentally, and then we just charge it with caffeine, and eventually you're just going to crash. You're just going to have this chronic fatigue, but also that's when chronic conditions start. I mean, eventually your body is going to say, hey, this enough, and something's going to get thrown out of whack, or it's going to be off rhythm or out of course. And that's where we see a lot of our clients typically eventually their bodies just kind of give up and they stop and they say enough is enough, and they're going to make you stop. I think you're good about that way. You're always telling me, like, when I'm sick, you're like, well, what have you been doing? Well, we've been working really hard. We've had all these projects, this and that. And well, yeah, your body's making you stop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel like right now. I feel like one of my first signs of sleep deprivation is always an upper respiratory infection. Mm-hmm. If I'm not exercising as much at home as I need to, and I'm getting poor quality sleep, I'm always going to get sick. Like my immune system's just tanks, just like what it said in the blog. And that's probably the most susceptible I am, especially around this time of year in the place that we live in. But it just makes you susceptible to get more illnesses overall.
Do you remember a couple years ago, we were in the middle of a lot of really stressful work stuff, and I was sick for 3 months. It just was one thing after the other.
I thought that was just who you were. I didn't know it was illness anymore. I thought Kevin was just this frail, sickly person. I had no idea.
It was the worst winter ever.
Pretty rough. Yeah.
But it was, it was directly correlated with, and we had a new child at home. I wasn't sleeping because we were getting up in the night with the new baby, and then plus all the other kids, and then a lot of work stress and all that compiled on top of each other. Mm-hmm. Eventually I just crashed. I just couldn't. And I think my immune system was wrecked, and I was just sick.
Yeah.
forever. It was
And then he
terrible.
found the power of berries.
Yeah.
The power of what?
The power of berries. It's
Berries?
it's my secret to health.
Oh, okay. Is that
Blueberries,
what it-
strawberries. Any
Oh,
kind of
okay.
berry.
Yeah.
That's another podcast. Actually.
Yeah,
We'll get into that a little
we'll do one
I
right
always
after
tell
this.
Wade, I was like, I don't get sick because I just eat a bunch of berries.
Kevin's vegan lifestyle keeps him thriving. Before we go into talking about like the positives or like how sleep can directly impact mental health, physical health, and or continuing the conversation of how it positively impacts, just for the sake of people being able to resonate with being a parent or like just going through different stages of life, are there certain periods in your life where you feel like your sleep has really taken a hit in the past, or are there are certain times of your life still that it's kind of like a pattern where you feel that your sleep has taken a hit, and how does that impact you? Kids, obviously.
Yeah.
but-
kids and
College.
Just
for
think
me
about
was-
college. Yeah,
yeah.
college studying. I mean, even through PT school. I mean, I had a friend that was like you that was just literally, I think he had pink eye for like 3 years straight. Like it's just sick and he just couldn't get over it. And that's some crazy eye stuff going on. But all your finals hit at the same time. All your tests were the same week. So like you stay up for that entire 2-week span leading up to it. And then within 3 weeks, you got the same thing happening again. I wasn't focusing on other parts of your physical health and mental health as much through like going through school in like a professional degree. So it definitely took a huge hit then. And then obviously when you have kids, small kids at home, it's just naturally going to be disrupted for a while. But I think there's some beauty in that your body understands that's what it's going through, and you can recover a little bit quicker from it. Whereas something like school, it just wrecked me for every winter season. I was just sick. It seemed like for months all the way through school.
yeah.
I think for me too, like, you know, in life, we've had some stages of grief too, you know, and stress or anxiety. Those things definitely hit me. I mean, you know, maybe I'm going to bed at a normal time, but I'm just laying there awake.
The quality of sleep too.
I know
yeah.
a lot of people can relate to that, and you just can't sleep. Also, I think for me, I'll have stages of creativity where all I can think about is whatever thing I'm working on, and I just can't sleep. I mean, the early stages of MoveWell were like that. I just couldn't sleep because I was just thinking about the business and what it could be, and it was actually kind of enjoyable actually that period, because I was actually like thinking about exciting stuff. I wasn't grieving or stressing. But you know, I think different life circumstances can impact sleep. Other than obviously when you have kids, you're just waking up because they wake up. You know.
Yeah.
But I know for a lot of people on the mental health side, I know Emily, your wife, can attest to that really can impact sleep too. you
Yeah,
know?
definitely. Yeah, I think it's easy to just think like one big thing that's happened in your life is going to impact your sleep. But a lot of times I feel most impacted by my sleep in like a negative way when it's little things that have bothered me or little things that are going on in my life, and they just kind of compound maybe. You know, whenever I left to go do my run with MS Run the US, I think I told you, Kevin, but like the 4 or 5 days leading up of knowing I was leaving my family for a week and making sure I had everything together, and then also being off work for a week, I stressed myself out so much that the first couple of nights on the RV, really every night, but the first couple of nights, especially on the RV, when I was doing this big run for the 5 days I was out there, I slept so bad. I mean, and you know, I was laying down by like 8 o'clock at the latest, really. But I wouldn't close my eyes until 10:30, 11 o'clock. And then I was up at 4 a.m. And like you said, you might be laying down at a decent time, but then if your brain can't shut off, if your nervous system can't shut off, then really that's not going to do anything for you. So I think it's good for people to hear us say that too. You know, obviously having kids, that's a big thing. Being in college, that's a huge thing. And just having a lot of life responsibilities. But a lot of times it's like the day-to-day stuff that can kind of impact your sleep. So kind of going from that, are there any best practices or maybe routines, anything that you all have experienced that has worked with you over time? And just share that perspective too.
I think, and you've talked on this way, so you can expand on this, but just, you know, our society now, we're just indoors so much, and we really kind of lose that regular rhythm, the rhythm of nature. So for me, you know, getting out, doing like an evening walk, or just being outside and like when the sun sets and stuff like that, I think just naturally just kind of calms my body down and like signals like, hey, it's time for rest and time for sleep. I know there's a lot of research on that.
I mean, and especially not just that, but just like having lights in your house, right? It kind of stimulates you. That's what all the screen protectors and stuff with phones, like the blue light, like triggers that same response. So like trying to have, I don't know if it's blue light, red light, whatever it is, but Especially like the sun setting is a natural trigger. Like it's time to go to sleep. Being up in time for like the sunrise to catch like early sun rays as well is also kind of triggers your body like to get ready for the day. There's a lot of research with that too. As far as best practices, it's just finding a rhythm and like a system. I think for our kids, when they don't sleep well, it's because we're out of sorts. We were out late. We're coming home. We didn't eat well. Let's just hurry up and get to bed. Skip bath tonight. We're running out of time. Y'all need to get to bed. It's 10:30. Like what are we even doing up as a family? But more of the times when we have that set schedule of, all right, we eat dinner, we play for a little bit. All right, it's time for a bath. All right, the kids take a bath. It's changing your pajamas. Let's go read a book. Let's say our prayers, and then they wind down quickly for sleep. So I think it's funny that we do that for our kids to get them to remember, like, hey, it's time for sleep.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Us as adults, what do? We just try to lay in our bed. People probably scroll their phones and like, hopefully I'll fall asleep well, right? But I think some of the best practices, honestly, for that would be like hot shower, like even just that quick body temperature drop, like from going from hot to cold actually triggers you to start to fall asleep. Having your room cooler, so that way you actually sleep well, like having a colder body temp actually helps you sleep. And like blackout curtains, like just to keep the sunlight out so it's not as bright in your room, or easy things that you can do just to try to help trigger some good sleep.
Yeah, that's good. That's such a good point about like we get so caught up on a routine or like being conscious of our child's sleep habits or just nighttime routines, especially. And Emily and I are the same way. We're like, well, it's going to be late. So, should we do a bath? Should we not? Whatever. But I think we're also at a stage now where like Leah is 2 years old. I think subconsciously we kind of have fallen into her routine for the most part. But also I think as a parent, it's really easy to be like, well, the only time we get together is after our child goes to sleep. So then you just stay up late talking, catching up on your day, whatever. And then, you're up until midnight or whatever. And then you go to bed.
Your sleep's jeopardized. Just to
your
catch up and
sleep's
spend time with
jeopardized.
your wife.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it goes both ways, but I think having some sort of best practice routine, whatever it may be, is huge. It's funny over there. But I think it's good to have like a best practice to try and mitigate that. Now, I can't really speak. I'm too far from college. I can't speak about that. So Wade, when did you get your physical therapy degree?
2018 is when I graduated. So I was in school from 15 to 18.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so what about like during college? Are there any college kids listening, perchance? Any tips on navigating sleep?
It's just like exercise. Study gradually. Don't let it pile up. If you get a B or a C, you're still going to pass and be just fine.
Yeah.
I never listened to any of that. I had to be a perfectionist. I studied all the time.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Studied until 2 minutes right before we walk in the door to make sure I have every little thing memorized, everything taken care of. That I just made sure I did everything I could to do as best as I could, honestly. And some of that was probably a detriment to physical and mental sanity at that time. So it's funny. Like we always hold people on a high pedestal, first one in, last one out, but at what cost? Like in some areas it's good to be that person, but in school it was a little much for me. I feel like at times getting there at 4 a.m. and leaving at 8 or 9 when I have a new wife at home, like that was probably not my best choice in those stages. But I would say, just like become better with scheduling, understand the power of a calendar, budget your time way better, just like what we talked about a couple weeks ago if you're in college. And just stick to that and just build a routine and find times to where you just turn off your brain to school stuff and actually enjoy yourself outside. Find hobbies you enjoy doing, stuff that's physically intensive, just so that way you have that stark contrast to where you're just not getting burnt out.
Yeah. And I think one thing too to note, you talk about like finding things outside of school, but I think that also translates to regardless of what stage you're in life, is like finding something to do outside of your job, your family. And obviously that comes with maybe getting up earlier or being up a little bit later. But I think physical activity goes a long way too. If you're still going to feel tired, but I think your quality of sleep is going to improve if you do some sort of physical activity majority of the week.
Well, you're going to be more tired maybe while you're doing it, but then afterwards you're going to feel better.
Yeah.
And then by the time it is to fall asleep that night, your body's going to be more worn out, where you're hopefully going to fall asleep better and have better quality sleep than you wouldn't if you didn't otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. So moving on to exactly that is like, I think your brain is stimulated. For me, especially, I think a lot of people can probably relate. If you've ever gotten up early and worked out like, especially if you wake up at like, 5 a.m. before work, you go get a workout in, you've already showered and got your breakfast prepped and you're back home with your family, or started your day and you're like, wow, I've already worked out today and I just feel good,
I'm just better than everybody.
Yeah, I'm
Is that
better
what
than
you're-
everybody,
Yeah, that's
you
what you're
know?
thinking like, wow,
Yeah.
wow.
No, but I think that like it supports your mental well-being
big time, yeah.
by doing that. And it's huge. But I think before we go to that, like going back to the physical thing too, one thing Steph noted in here was that poor sleep increases cravings for high calorie foods, which obviously
There you
in
go.
turn is going to result in weight gain. And just getting enough rest is going to help with your metabolism, but also your appetite. So that's something too. I think a lot of people get older and they're like, oh, my metabolism isn't what it used to be. And although there's truth to that, but if you get quality sleep or decent sleep, then that is also going to contribute
Could
to
be some habit stuff contributing to
Oh,
that,
big
other
time.
than just I'm getting older. I mean, things change when we get older, but also our habits change a
Yeah.
lot too when we get older. That can
Yeah.
contribute to that
Mhm.
for sure.
yeah. So if you're not moving your body as much as you did 5 years ago, you're sleeping less, you're not getting outside, whatever it is, like that's going to contribute and it's going to compound to
Mhm.
a lower metabolism, more weight gain, more cravings of foods that are higher calorie, etc. But yeah, going to the mental well-being. We said, like we were just talking about that earlier. Like when you don't sleep well, you wake up and you immediately feel like flustered. You don't feel well. You come home after work, you feel like your temper, you snap quicker, whatever it is. Getting quality rest and then an adequate amount of rest is going to help regulate your mood. It's going to keep your emotions more in line. So now I guess the question is, like, talk about nights that you have gotten quality sleep, good sleep and quality sleep in comparison. Like, I guess take me through your day of a night where you've gotten quality sleep and good sleep compared to a day where you might wake up and immediately out the gate. How does that impact your brain function? I know we touched on it like a little bit before we started recording, but how does that impact your brain function from being able to complete tasks and be effective throughout your day and whenever you get home?
I feel like I don't get affected at all. I feel like I'm as mentally sharp.
Oh,
All the
No
time.
matter what
Yeah.
day, honestly. Yeah,
Well,
it
we
doesn't
all
affect me
notice,
at all.
Wade.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we notice it.
You can tell I've been slipping lately, but I'm not going to take a notice to it. But it's, no, I mean, I think especially like in a work capacity, you're just going to make more mistakes.
Yeah.
You're not going to be as focused, right? It just takes more time probably to get going. You may push off projects or something that you can work on more like mindless tasks that maybe aren't as important. That's where, like, if I'm in a headspace like that, I usually try to find two things to give me quick wins to
Yeah, I
get
do
back
that.
on track. So like something easy is billing or zeroing out the accounts that we have. Like those are pretty mindless things I can do to give me a quick win, or like building out a report that I can see from start to finish of like a previous month. All right, that's done. Check, boom, send it, and I'm good. So it just kind of give me a couple wins when everything else has already been a little in shambles to start the morning, like just to kind of help just calm and reset. Or honestly, some days whenever I get to my office and my other office, if I start off with a morning like that, I'll just spend like 5 to 10 minutes, read, silence, pray, honestly, just to help get my mind right for the rest of the day. And so, but if I've gotten good quality sleep, I can usually just step right into it, and I'll have a list from the day before that I made before I left. And honestly, just be able to start write down that list.
Yeah.
But if not, it usually just takes me a little bit more.
Yeah, I kind of like the approach you took too, Wade. Of like, not that we're trying to give you tips on how to mitigate, sleep 4 hours and then thrive throughout your day. But I do think there are ways to maybe feel better about it or kind of kickstart your day. And I think the quick wins thing is huge. Because this like notebook that I have that my wife got me. Getting old, you ask for stuff that you actually
That
need
was
to
about
use.
4 years ago, right? And you're about halfway through.
Oh,
now?
yeah, he's still working his way through.
Still working
Yeah.
his way through,
No, I got this. I think it was
Christmas
it was
this year, right?
Christmas, maybe. Yeah. I asked, I was like, I want a nice leatherback notebook. So I have it, and every day I write a to-do list and then the date, and I'll write the smallest things. And sometimes if I've completed a task that I didn't write down on my to-do list, I'll just write it down and then cross
do
it
the
out.
same
I'm
thing.
like, honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
and I think that's a way to, I think that's a good everyday practice maybe. But on the days where maybe you feel like you're defeated a little bit, you didn't sleep well, overwhelmed. Yeah. Just write down a to-do list and some easy, quick wins, whatever it is, especially at work. And that generally kind of helps me too. But yeah, I think I feel the big difference, especially on the days when I wake up and I haven't slept well. Like I said, when I sleep well, I can feel like as soon as I wake up, I'm like, let's let's get all of our daughter's stuff ready for the day before we have to take her to the daycare, and all of her stuff is done. And then we're waking her up well before we need to leave for the day. Whereas, like even today we slept okay. The quality wasn't great. And then we woke up way later than we wanted. We feel like we're having to rush our daughter to eat breakfast and then get out the door, all those things. It just carries over. So yeah, it goes a long way for us, especially having a kid now. I can just feel it in all day-to-day tasks. But is there anything on your end, Kevin?
I always sleep pretty good, honestly. I do.
When you fall asleep when your kids are in?
I fall asleep fast, but then I get woken up all night by the kids and stuff. But like this was I went to bed probably 10:30 last night. Woke up at 3:15 with one of the kids, and she was in bed kicking us. I didn't sleep great. And then the other kid woke up. I had my alarm set for 5 because I was going to go run. And then my other daughter woke up. I was going to leave the house at 5:30. So I went and lay with her. I lay with her till 5:25, but at 5:30, I was out
the
So
door.
I woke up, put my clothes
gosh.
on, and just started running right away.
No stretch, no mobility. Who needs it?
Nothing at all.
Okay.
This is not ideal, but
Yeah.
no, I typically sleep pretty good, but then I'll notice, like I think I told you the other day, like I'm just so tired all day long.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think maybe I sleep it but I still think I'm not actually getting good quality.
Yeah.
I'll fall asleep fast, but I think I'm still kind of halfway alert, maybe.
Yeah.
Just not getting that deep sleep at all. Because a lot of times I'll have enough hours, but I still don't feel rested.
Yeah.
But I think it's because I'm getting kicked in the ribs by 2-year-olds.
That could be it too. Yeah.
Probably.
I feel that.
But yeah, if I wake up late, my whole day is kind of shot. And then, but I think I do the same thing as you. Try to reset. I'm big on the list as well. And then same thing. I'll try to get the small tasks done, small wins, and then kind of let that build into something more. I'm not a caffeine user. So
when he is, it's like another level of energy.
Watch
though.
out, world. When
Yeah,
Kevin drinks
it's-
caffeine.
What is it? The chai tea latte?
dirty chai. Wade taught me about the dirty chai.
Hey, don't throw me under the bus.
It's
Hey,
pretty good.
dirty
It's pretty
chai.
good. That's
It's
why
pretty
when I go
good.
to a coffee shop, that's what I get. Dirty
And what he
chai
does, he drinks it in about 5 minutes, and then 20 minutes later, he is off the walls. Blaming Wade for that one.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
But one of the last things I want to talk about is how it strengthens your immune system. And I think not veering too far from sleep, but I think physical activity as well. When you partner, we go through stages where we have really good sleep patterns for the most part, and then really consistent physical activity. Talk about, Emily always makes fun of me because I'm like, I feel like I couldn't get sick right now. I'm so fit and I feel well. I'm sleeping well. Huh?
You must be eating a lot
All
of
the berries I'm eating. Yeah. I'm sleeping well and I'm moving my body well. Like, how does, I guess, the combination of like physical activity and proper sleep just make you feel and be able to fight off sickness? Like, I feel like there's been so many times where I'm sleeping well, I'm working out, and everybody around me is getting sick. And I'm like, I feel like the flu could run through my house. I'm not going to get sick, and then maybe that changes when you have kids and other things, but like, talk about that.
I feel it physically a lot. Like
Physically, especially,
I'll have like chronic kind of low back kind of pain sometimes and stuff like that. And then, but it's usually with a pattern of not a lot of sleep, not maybe some stress compounded on that. So I feel it physically. And then like when I am in a good rhythm, like nothing hurts, nothing. I just feel great, That's kind of how I feel right now, honestly. Like I feel I'm in a good pattern right now. Lots of berries though.
Lots of berries.
But,
We got two guys that say they can never get sick right now. in this room.
Yeah.
Yeah, be careful. We're going to be calling out on next week.
No, but I think for me, I think I am more susceptible to cold and all those things, but I think I feel a lot physically. And typically I'll hurt my back every couple of years pretty bad, where like I can't really walk very well kind of thing. And it's always when I'm not sleeping, I'm stressing. It always happens then. So it's definitely.
Then you heard it doing
correlation.
laundry or something like something like it's weird.
Yeah.
Like seriously though,
I
like
was
we
just
laughed
bent
about
over
it
in the laundry basket and just fell to the floor. And,
Yeah.
couldn't walk for a week.
The stress of the laundry, he just
I
couldn't handle
know.
it.
Well,
Sorry,
if you see
babe.
our laundry room.
It
it's
literally
pretty-
broke his. I'm sure it looks just like mine right now. You
Yeah.
walk in and you got 10
Yeah.
piles of clothes right there sitting as soon as you walk in the door. Now, I think whenever I'm physically doing well, hitting all my markers I want, sleeping decent, I just feel great. You know, like you all were saying, like you feel like you could just walk through the urgent care in the middle of flu and COVID season and not get sick, right? But then there's also a point where I know y'all have done some big races, so I'm interested to hear your takes on this too. Like where you've been putting up a lot of high mileage, or where you've been like that, coupled with a couple nights of poor sleep. Are you more susceptible to getting sick then too? Because those are times whenever I know in my training it's okay. Hey, let's back off a couple days, let my body recover a little bit more, so that way I'm not getting sick. Because in the past I've done that before.
Yeah. I mean,
usually me following like a big race and a lot of training, I don't sleep great, a week or two after that. And I don't really have much of an appetite actually.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I will have one like a week or two later, but it's just like my body's like in such distress.
Hormones and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. This last year wasn't as bad when I did one, but typically it's
Body's getting used to it.
Maybe
Starting to get normal now for you.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel that too. I think after like big efforts, like my legs get really restless after like big efforts. So I just don't sleep well because of that. And then we talked about it too, Kevin, but like you kind of have like this weird funk after doing a big effort. And it's usually like a couple of days later.
Yeah.
You really you don't have much of an appetite, like you said. And then 3-4 days later, I'm kind of like, I feel out of whack. And I think it was just from lack of sleep, overexertion of the body, all those things. But yeah, I definitely feel it too. I think it's definitely a contributor in how I'm feeling mentally, and then also immune system. I don't know that I've ever really gotten like super sick after like an event or anything, but I definitely feel it mentally, and then other ways physically too. But to kind of wrap up, one thing that Steph put in here, I think is easier said than done, but it is a nice tip and a good takeaway, is that, 7 to 9 hours, they say, is quality sleep, is like the benchmark that they recommend. Obviously that's going to fluctuate and look different based on different seasons of life, but in turn, you're going to feel healthier. You're going to have more energy. Your body is going to crave things that are healthier, and you're not going to crave things that are worse for you. Your metabolism is going to be healthier than it would be if you slept 4 hours versus 6 hours or 7 hours, whatever it is. But I think just starting small, and like, even if it's just laying down a little bit sooner, like laying down 30 minutes earlier. And the biggest thing for me, I notice a big difference in my sleep quality whenever I stay true to putting my phone away from wherever I'm sleeping. Because even if you sleep with your phone under your pillow or whatever it is, and you fall asleep well or quickly and you're sleeping good, if you wake up at 3 a.m. and you feel a little bit restless and you grab your phone, then what? It turns into 30 minutes of scrolling or whatever it might be. But I know I was really good there for a while about plugging my phone up in the bathroom, and that way it's away from me and I'm not even worried about it. Leave the bathroom door open, set my alarm, or you can go the Kevin route and get like an alarm clock that he takes everywhere with him. But I think like screen time is a big part of it too, like you kind of alluded to, Wade. But yeah, I think just like starting with small additives, whether it's laying down earlier, putting your phone away after a certain time, or maybe like reading before, finding a tea that you like to drink before, like just developing a routine, something, and then eventually just add, just progress that routine a little bit, and maybe
small things. That's what we always preach every single podcast, right? Small things over time.
Yeah.
Add up, makes a big difference.
Yeah. Big time. Any other takeaways? I know you guys
I know we're going to be talking about it this month, and I know a lot of our clients maybe work some crazy work schedules.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be excited to kind of dive into that here over the next month or so, and maybe discuss some of that, because I know like
swing shift and stuff like that.
Swing shift, working nights, like your body can never get in a rhythm. Yeah. So I want to do some part on our end to kind of dive into the research on it a little bit and maybe discuss some of that. I think that'd be interesting to dive into a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we work with, like you said, people that work swing shift. We work with first responders that have crazy schedules too. And I think it's easy to give tips based on the perspective of like 8 to 4, 9 to 5 type of lifestyle, but obviously that differs for everybody. But yeah, I think that is a good way to start the month talking about sleep. We have some really great blogs from Stephanie this month talking about the power of sleep and just how it impacts different parts of our lives. But of course, this was a nice little intro, just talking about how it impacts our overall health, and not just waking up feeling tired or waking up feeling refreshed. It has a lot of variables based on how you sleep, for the amount of time and the quality of sleep you get. So if you enjoyed this episode, leave a comment. Let us know something you want us to talk about. Let us know your sleep routine so we can talk about that, relay that to other people. And we appreciate you all watching. If you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening, thanks for listening.
hopefully you didn't fall asleep during this episode.
Hopefully you didn't fall
hopefully
asleep.
If you, were asleep, wake up.
You guys
now. It's
had
time
me
to wake
yawning.
up.
I'm not gonna lie, I was yawning a lot.
I know,
But
so Kevin's
good
pretty
one,
sleepy.
good one, Wade. Good one, man. All right, appreciate y'all listening.
I'm glad
Some
you